going crazy in a different role.
Hey guys, my name is tpzizzy and welcome to another video. And in today's video I'll be talking about my budget gaming PC that I built last year and have just been upgrading it ever since. So before we get into the video, please consider subscribing, as that can definitely help with the channel. And if you do enjoy this video, definitely hit the like button. The comment section, I would like to use that as a place to just share websites to getting good PC deals or good PC part deals. If anyone's building a PC, it's just going to make it easier for them to access websites, having them in the comments, so feel free to do that. So starting off with the specs of my PC, the CPU I have is the Ryzen 3 3100, so this has been performing pretty well, decently for what I'm doing. The CPU cooler is the Deepcool AS500, so this is a CPU cooler with the heatsink and a 240mm fan, so you can actually change the RGB on the heatsink, which is really nice. And again, I'd like to thank Deepcool for sending it out to me. I really do appreciate it. And if any of you guys would like to pick up the same parts in this PC, then definitely head to the description where I'll have all the PC parts and they're linked to them. For the GPU, I am using an RX 570 by Gigabyte, the 4GB of VRAM. So this runs alright for a lot of games in 2021. The best I could do is medium-ish, low settings, but it does run pretty good. The RAM, I do have 16GB of DDR4 RAM by HyperX running at a speed of 3200 MHz, which it runs really well because coming from 8GB of RAM, it was a struggle in a lot of third-party games and just games in 2021. For my motherboard, I am using the MSI B450M Max Micro ATX AM4 version of the motherboard, so AMD obviously, and this is alright. It has a few USB ports, it has your HDMI, VGA, just in case if you have like a CPU with integrated graphics, so it has your HDMI, VGA, and just headphone jack, stuff like that. It doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, unfortunately, which I think is a really great feature, having the built-in Wi-Fi, so you don't have to buy the Wi-Fi adapter. So for my Windows and just all my little files, I am using a WD 240 gigs SSD, so this is going to run Windows really well compared to me using a hard drive, which I do not 100% never recommend somebody to use their hard drive to store Windows, because it's not gonna run well. That's all I gotta say. It's not gonna run well. And then for my second hard drive, I am using a 1TB WD hard drive, so that's just storing a lot of my games and my video files for YouTube. For the power supply, but before I get into it, I would like to thank Isaac Tech. I will link his TikTok. I would like to thank him so much just sending me out a power supply. Isaac Tech does build computers in Queensland, and he sent me out a power supply for free, a 550 watt gold certified power supply by Cooler Master. So that is what I am using for my power supply, and thank you Isaac again for sending me out the power supply. So I am rocking 5 case fans. I know this really isn't too important, but I have 3 exhaust and then 2 intake. I still need 1 more for my intake, so I am looking for another fan. But yeah, I have my 2 basic exhaust fans, and then we have 3 RGB LED fans, white LED fans by Cooler Master. Putting all these parts together is the Deepcool Macube 110 case. Again, thank you Deepcool for sending me out the Macube 110 case. I really do appreciate it. This is a micro ATX case, so it kind of has a H510 feel to it, so the NZXT H510, so it kind of has some similarities. I still really love this case and it performs really well. The temps aren't too bad, so it comes up with like 2 USB ports on the top, the power, the reset, and a headphone jack. Fortnite Team Rumble, we have most of the settings at low and then the 3D resolution at 100%. So this is just the competitive setting, so what settings I use, and I am using 120 FPS to just use the 120 Hz from my monitor, so it runs pretty well. Dropping down, we're getting around 95, 100, but keep in mind that I am recording, and that also does put a bit of heft to the game and to my PC when recording whilst obviously playing. So as you guys can see that it's at around 100-ish, but normally it would be capped at 120. So now you can see 106, 115. So yeah, starting to, it might lag here and there, but that is just definitely because of me having OBS open, and yeah, that putting a bit of a weight on my PC. But To Apex, we are rocking medium and a bit of low settings. So as you guys can see, medium 3G VRAM, and yeah, we're rocking a bit of both medium and low, so it just doesn't look like a potato, but it also runs pretty well. So yeah, you guys can see it's getting around the 100 FPS, and it's just because I even have my screen recorder. Just to keep in mind, the screen recorder is kind of putting a bit of heft, I think, to my PC too, with just having the game running too. So I think it's a mix of both. So roughly 120-ish, 140 would be around where I would get without the recorder, because the recorder is putting a bit of weight on my PC. But yeah, you guys can see it's running pretty well. Doesn't look too bad, too shabby. Over to our next game that we are going to be benchmarking. Into our last game to benchmark, Rainbow Six Siege, and everything is running at high or medium. So most of the things are rated at high. As you guys can see right here, they're at high. I am not using the 120 Hertz at the moment, just because I need to record the screen, and yeah, it's just going to mess up with the recording. But yeah, 144 FPS as the FPS limit, and we have most of the stuff here. We'll go to graphics, sorry. Here is where we see it. So it's on custom, but we have high, 4 times high, medium, high. The gist that it's just, yeah, it's put on high or medium, and yeah, I think yeah, it runs pretty well. You can see there the amount of gigabytes that we've used, 2 gigabytes out of 4 gigabytes, which is really good. So we're not really using a lot of the VRAM from the RX 570. So heading into Rainbow Six Siege, it is running pretty well, and this is like, it's running at around 100 FPS on high. So mostly high, to be honest. I would say mostly high. It's running pretty good. By the way, guys, I am not too great at Rainbow Six Siege, but yeah, it's running at high, medium pretty well. We'll wait till we get into some gunfights, because I think that's where we'll see if the FPS drops or stays the same, which is good. I'll be going over 3 subjects that really have a big impact on what I do with my PC. So that comes in with editing videos on Premiere Pro, streaming on Twitch with OBS Studio, and most importantly, the temperatures whilst I'm gaming. So getting into editing videos on Premiere Pro, I've been doing this I think for a couple of months. I used to edit on HitFilm 4 Express, but that just, it wasn't cutting it, it wasn't doing great. So I was able to actually access Adobe Premiere Pro with my school email, which is really great. And the experience for it has been a mix of frustration, but also happiness. I feel like you guys are probably wondering why I said frustration and happiness. One side, I feel frustrated whenever it just crashes. I'm trying to edit a YouTube video and it just crashes out of nowhere, and it really does. It triggers me a lot. And I do save it. I have automatic save on, but sometimes I've edited and the automatic save actually hasn't been done, so then it just doesn't save what I have done. So that's one thing that I've really had some issues with, and especially as this is only 16 gigabytes of RAM. I am also opening like Google Chrome to get images for my videos, so opening Premiere Pro, Google Chrome, but also File Explorer, it's going to be a bit hard on the computer, especially with only having 16 gigabytes of RAM. And that's why I definitely would recommend 32 gigabytes when it comes to video editing, or just even with Adobe Photoshop Lightroom, maybe animations even. But yeah, I would recommend 32 gigabytes if you do edit your videos with Premiere Pro. But on the good side, I've really had a lot of fun with Premiere Pro, and sometimes, a lot of the times, it has been performing really well for me, and it hasn't been lagging out or cutting out or quitting or crashing. It, like, most of the time, a majority of the time, it does what it's supposed to be doing, and it really helps that I can actually use professional video editing software, because I think it helps with just the quality of my videos and how the videos come out. But yeah, I've had a good experience with Premiere Pro, and the playback, so if you're playing back some videos, it's not going to be as crisp just because we're using an RX 570 and it's not the best graphics card for video editing. Alongside gaming, not too well for 2021. I don't think it really cuts it in. That's why I am looking into upgrading to an RTX 30 series card or an RTX 2060. One question I've been asked a lot is, how do I stream on Twitch with OBS on my computer? It's a mix of just researching and looking for the best settings for your computer. So that's going into your GPU settings, your AMD GPU settings or NVIDIA, depending on which one you have. Going to your OBS settings just to fix and tweak up some stuff, just so that the stream runs pretty good and just runs smoothly. I'll definitely include the settings to my streams and how I stream and what settings I use for my streams, because I stream at, I think around, is it 948 by 480p, so around the 480p, 30 FPS, and yeah, that runs pretty well on my streams with a lot of games that I play, like Apex or Rainbow, sometimes Forza. But yeah, it does do its job. The PC definitely does do its job. It's not the best, obviously, because it is pretty budgety and it doesn't have the best parts. The temperatures whilst gaming, it really does depend which game. When I'm running something like Rocket League or Valorant, it isn't really going to push the PC fans really hard. But if I'm playing games like Apex or GTA 5 or just other games like Halo Infinite, then the fans start to crank up and it is a bit loud. But by all means, I am really not disappointed with any of the fans running really loud or anything. I feel like it's doing its job just to cool down the PC. And also, I can actually take off the front glass panel on the Deepcool Macube case, which is a really cool mechanism, how it's magnetic and doesn't use screws. So this allows just for better airflow, so natural air flowing through and out using with the exhaust fans. So I think it does a really good job with, I think, the magnetic glass panel. But if you did enjoy this video on me talking about my PC and how it runs, what games it can run, how it runs the games, I really do hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like button and please subscribe, as that will really help the channel. And if you'd like to check out my other social medias, that will be in the link down below. See you.